Horford stopped. Here is with a throwdown.
Well, and Milwaukee doesn't normally force a lot of turnovers.
They're calling a foul on Antetokounmpo, a T, I should say, on the delay of game.
Well, and Milwaukee doesn't normally force a lot of...
I won't let you get away with this!
What you say his power level is? It's over 9,000! 9,000?! There's no way that can be right!
Horford gets by Giannis and throws it down and one. Al Horford. Oh, was an elbow.
Flagrant one after the basket. Foul on Giannis there. So one free throw for Horford. Certainly nothing intentional there.
Yeah, I don't really know what he said to me, but the way he was looking at me and the way that he was going about it really didn't sit well with me. And at that point, I think just something switched with me.
YouTube, how's everyone doing? Jags to Riches, James Peters, thank you all so much for your time. Straight to it, guys. Obviously, our Boston Celtics with a huge, some say must-win Game 4 over the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference semis. 116-108 to tie the series back up at 2 wins apiece, heading back to the Garden for Game 5. Obviously, last night on the Celtics Corner, I did my immediate post-game show. Shout out to 40 Cal and Rashid. Thank you all so much for joining. Spent about 30 minutes, and that was a raw reaction. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make the pregame show with Camille, special guest. She actually covers the Bucks, as well as Bree. Thank you so much, ladies. Appreciate it. Excellent show. 40 and Bobby were there as well. I actually started a new job, a really good opportunity, something that it's a blessing. So I was there, so missed the pregame, and I actually missed the start to this game. I actually didn't make it till the second half. So, I mean, what a wild finish. I have since been able to go back, watch the full game in its entirety, actually, stop, look at plays, break it all down. So I wanted to actually come back, and I'll actually post the link to both of those. You'll see the post-game show for from the Celtics Corner. That'll be in the description below, somewhere below. Just look below. As well as, I know some people were asking, like, for my Game 3 reaction, like, where was that breakdown? If you don't see it on my Jags channel, it's most likely on Celtics Corner. So my Game 3 breakdown, that me and Bobby did an immediate one. That actually is a video that did very well after the Bucks. Basically, that Al Horford tip-in, buzzer beater almost, 103, 101, something like that, Game 3 loss. So I'll put the link to that, as well as the post-game immediate reaction yesterday, both on Celtics Corner. So check below for that, guys. But today, now that I've had an opportunity to really look into it, I just kind of want to go into a little bit more details and just kind of go over my takeaways. And of course, like everyone else is doing, like you've seen in the intro, I really want to spend some time talking about Al Horford, just because when you really take a step back and think about everything that was going on with him coming into the season and how he's performed and just now what's next. So we'll get to all that. But again, looking at the box scores, like I said, guys, this is going to be a 116-108 win for the Boston Celtics. And you got to look right at Al Horford. Plus 20. The man had 30 points, 8 rebounds. He was 11 for 14 and 5 for 7. He missed 3 shots, 3 for 4 from the free throw, 3 assists as well, a block. And he had 16 of his points in the fourth quarter. You've seen at the beginning of the second half in the intro, Giannis with the mean mug. And then you've seen Al did not like that shit and got his redemption, some get back in the fourth, and was just brilliant. I mean, brilliant. You could argue that in the first quarter, guys, this team was looking like they wanted to sell. Like they looked like they might check, cash it in. They were done, but bounced back in the second quarter and obviously took the lead. At the first lead was, I think, at the midpoint of the second. But then looking at Jason Tatum, 30 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, he hasn't been having as good of a series. I mean, if you think, looking at his last series, he was coming into this averaging 30 points, 5 boards, 7+ assists, shooting 45% in the Brooklyn series. So far this one, he's averaging only 22 points, 6 rebounds, about 5.5 assists, shooting 31%. Now, obviously, he had that 10-point game 3, and I mean that's a heartbreaker, because you could argue, and some people on Celtics corner were, that the Celtics could easily be up 3-1 right now if their superstar performed in game 3 and didn't have a 10-point dud. But he was huge in this game, 12 points in the fourth quarter, and he actually kind of struggled throughout the first 3, but that is what closers do. He was huge, and he closed it out in the fourth. Dunk. Speaking of all the dunks, how about the dunk on Brook Lopez in the first quarter, and then just the acrobatic layup? He absolutely killed George Hill when he got brought in the fourth. So excellent game by Jason Tatum. We really needed that bounce back for him. Jaylen Brown, he just couldn't get going this game, guys. I mean, you can see 18 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, but he was 5 for 11. I mean, you had Smart, Horford, Tatum, all of those guys. When is Jaylen Brown the fourth, when it comes to attempts? It's just 5 personal fouls, especially that one key one with him and Drew Holiday with the challenge. I mean, after that, it was just, it's hard. Basketball is all about rhythm, guys. So it's just, I mean, this is a guy who in game 2 had 25 points and a half. I mean, even coming off game 3 in that 2-point loss, he had 27. I mean, he's basically doing exactly what he did in a previous series. He's averaging about 22 points, 7.5 boards, shooting about 38%. So, not too worried about Jaylen. It's, like I said, more so foul trouble. But Marcus Smart, 18 points, 8 assists. He had 9 points in the fourth quarter. He's another one, guys, that if you look at him this series, this was his coming out game, because so far, game 1, he had 10 points, 6 assists, 2 steals, was solid, not bad. Did not play game 2. Game 3 only had 9 points. I mean, he's just, when you look back at his game, his series against Brooklyn, he's another one. Averaged 16.5 points, 7 assists, and was huge. I mean, he's the defensive player of the year. So really, really good to see, Marcus. I mean, that fourth quarter, when you look at the quarter by quarter breakdown, the Bucks had the lead 25-18 at the end of the first, 48-47. Like I said, the Celtics battled back in the second, but the Bucks still had the lead. And then they would start to actually gain on us and get some ground in the third quarter. Pretty much throughout the third into the late parts of it, they would get a double-digit lead, and they would have a 7-point lead going into the fourth quarter, 80-73. And then obviously the fourth quarter is where everything changed. Excuse me. That is where we went on a 43-28 run to close out that game. That fourth quarter belonged to Al Horford, Tatum, Smart, and the Boston Celtics. Like I said, 43-28, and you had Al with 16, Tatum with 12, and Marcus with 9. I mean, what's the quick math on that? 26, 28, 38, 37 right there. 37 out of the 43. So shout out to my man, Derek White. He's been a guy that's just been kind of like a mystery so far. Like a lot of people, I mean, including myself, when we initially got him, I thought that it was sending out Richardson, who had been really good for this team. And I loved how, just everything that he added coming off the bench, 40% 3-point shooter, just looked like he fit the culture, tone setter. And then the picks, Romeo, I mean, and he just hasn't quite given us that return. Now, he finished the regular season very well, but that Brooklyn series, 5 points, was 3 for 18 coming into this series. But as you see tonight, he had 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, was 4 for 6 from the field. And that's the thing, is 3 out of his last 4 games, he scored in double digits. So, I mean, say what you want, but like I said, game 1, 10 points. The one game he didn't score double digits. He actually had a dud, 0 points, 0 for 6 from the field. But hey, game 3, 14 points. And then, of course, in this game, 11. So, and you can't say he actually played a really important role. You know, they went small for a good point because Grant was off. I mean, let me get the stats back up here, but this was a bad game for Grant Williams. As you see right here, he got the start, only 9 points. Obviously, Rob Williams, DNP. It's going to be interesting to see. He's got some, soreness more than expected, obviously coming off of that surgery and that, really a serious injury and a quick turnaround. So Grant Williams, we've seen he's averaged about 12 points, 5 assists 5 rebounds throughout this series, shooting about 38%, a little over. But it was that game 2 breakout where he had that 21 points on the 6 for 9 shooting. Otherwise, 8 points, 9. And the last 2 games, game 3, he was 1 for 6 shooting from the 3. And then this game, 1 for 5, and just foul trouble at times, but has been excellent, when it comes to the defensive end. But they had to go small just because he really wasn't that good. So to me, Daniel Tice, 11 minutes, as you see, 0 for 5. Him and Peyton Pritchard so far really haven't been able to get going in this series. And I mean, Peyton was really good last series against the Nets. And Tice actually closed out the year really well in Rob Williams' absence, but showing some love and respect to the opponent. Giannis, 34 points, 18 rebounds, 5 assists. If they lose this series, it will not be because of this man. He is so sensational. 14 for 32 from the field. Brook Lopez actually played really good for them. 17 points, 7 rebounds, 6 for 11 from the field. Drew Holiday, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists. He shot like shit, 5 for 22 from the field, 1 for 6 from the 3. But I love his flow to his game, though. Just some really beautiful passes at times, but negative 23. Ugh. Bobby Portis, who's our Bobby's, that's his boy, right? 15 minutes, 4 points. Pat Connaughton, Boston native. In fact, Pat Connaughton is one of the guys I think is going to end up on the Celtics next year. He's going to be one of the guys that I think we target in the offseason to sign one of those vet minimum deals. Don't be surprised if Pat Connaughton is playing for the Boston Celtics next season. And hey, I would welcome it. 11 points, 7 rebounds, and is a sharpshooter, one of the best 3-point shooters in the game, 3 for 6 from the 3. No fear, just chucking them up. Grayson Allen actually didn't have a good game either. I know it says 7 points, 3 for 7, but he was 1 for 4 from the 3. And not to mention that 7th point, he had 4 points all the way up until like 2 minutes left when he hit that 3. It was actually a very clutch 3, but that's what gave him the 7 points. So, again, guys, this game was basically just a must win for the Celtics. You can't go down 3-1 to the defending champs. They have taken back home court advantage. They have taken back momentum, and it was in a sensational way because, like I said, you're coming off of a game 3 where you are a 10th of a second away from, tying it up, and then who knows? And it's like, obviously, it's a lot of controversy with the refs. I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it more like you lost by 2 on a night where Giannis has 40-something points and Tatum only has 10. It's like, how often is Tatum going to have 10 points? You know what I mean? But this was Al Horford's night, guys. This is an absolute career night. It was. And think of that. This man's 35. He'll be 36 next month, and this is a career night. And he has been in quite a few playoff series between the Celtics and the Hawks and just, even with Sixers. So, Al's an absolute legend. I think he's a Hall of Famer, and I think he understands exactly what the Celtics are looking. This is a championship team this year. They are looking at a real chance at winning a championship. Whoever comes out of this series really is. I have said it multiple times. I think the winner of this series, and this is no disrespect, I think the Sixers, and I'm a Heat fan, guys. I'm out of Florida. They're always on the television. If they're not playing my Celtics, I root for Miami. I really do. I love Bam. I love Jimmy Butler. I like that team a lot. I watch them as much as any other team besides Boston. And I know how tough they're going to be. 3 months ago on this channel, I have literally a video that's titled Why Miami Will Win the Championship this year. So I'm not discrediting either one of those teams. And I know that'll be a tough series. I just think that if the Bucks win, they probably get Middleton back. And then obviously that's a lot of momentum. And then if the Celtics win, you just swept the Nets and then beat the defending champs. Rob Williams will continue to get healthier, and it's just, I think they'll carry that straight to the finals. So, I mean, this has been a sensational series so far, 2-2, but I think that the Celtics really are getting momentum. And not only that, Giannis, man, how much more does he have in the tank? Like, seriously, it's like Giannis just, like, he is doing everything. That's one of the big things with not having Middleton. It's not having that guy that they can just, Middleton is a guy a lot of their offense flows through. Like, when they are in half court, they get the ball to Middleton a lot because he is a one-on-one nightmare. He lights up Boston, especially in the playoffs. He can score in multiple ways. He's a sharp shooter. I mean, he's a big deal. Like, I know people were hating on him this year, but perennial all-star. I mean, Chris Middleton's no scrub. You know what I mean? He's one of the top 25 players in the world. He's a gold medalist. He's solid, man. So not having him is crucial, and that's their second best player. That's like us not having Jaylen Brown. But again, Giannis is just doing so much. You've seen it in this game, the fatigue and the fact that they didn't win. I think he just gave it everything because he wanted that 3-1 and not having it. Now going back to Boston. If they lose this next game, and I actually think they do, I believe Boston has the momentum. I got to look into it a little bit more, but I think it'll be very difficult with this short turnaround for Milwaukee to go into TD Garden and steal Game 5 just with Giannis being so fatigued. I really do. He was getting banged up. I mean, that's one thing about his style. I mean, when you have a style that is not more like when is as physical and just you're just banging all damn day, like every play, it's just contact. It's like it's like football practice. It really is. It's just, that takes a toll, man. That's exhausting. That's over 4 games. Like Grant Williams, the Celtics are just making it so uncomfortable. They're just throwing people at him. You know what I mean? He's not the best free throw shooter. Let's call it what it is. And the officiating, to be honest, it is what it is. So the Celtics, I mean, Giannis is going to do what Giannis does. You know what I mean? But as you can see, it's starting to take a toll on him. And back to Al Horford, I think Al is just doing everything he can to solidify this team getting to the finals this year. Because this might honestly be his last, big hurrah towards it. And he sees, like, this team I have right now, we have championship DNA. We can win this right now. Remember, Al Horford has been with these guys to ECF runs. He sees what they have right now. And I think that he is, Al Horford has been the best player this entire series for the Celtics, and it's not even close. It's not. He's averaging 19 points, 11 plus rebounds, 3.5 assists. He's shooting 48+% from 3, 1.5 blocks, basically 1.5 steals. Game 1, double-double. Game 2, double-double. Game 3, 22 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists, and damn near had the game winner. Game 4, you just seen what he did. He pretty much single-handedly carried this team to victory. He did. I mean, what he did on both ends, how personal he took it. I mean, you've seen it. Anna Horford tweeted it out. Shout out to Anna, man. Shout out to you, Anna. Wow. Damn it. When you are right, you are right. She straight up said it, man. And he had that fire in his lies. Like, who? Really? And he responded. He was brilliant. This was a game for the ages. It really was. This was a performance of a lifetime for him, and he'll look back, especially if they win this series and they continue. It's ECF, bro. If they win this, they're in the ECF. We're knocking on the door. And Al Horford is doing everything he can to knock that damn thing down. So shout out to Al Horford, man. He has been absolutely incredible. I think that one of the big stories, and this, I'll wrap up after this, it's coming into this year, guys, it was kind of like, I thought the Celtics were a year away. You know what I mean? I thought this would be obviously a first-year coach, it's a lot going on. And I was like, you'll hear a lot of people talk about, well, what move are they going to make in this upcoming offseason? Would they look at, Dame and Bradley Beal and all the other rumors that you hear? But for the longest, the only way they could make a move is if they moved on from Al Horford's contract, because remember, he is making the second most on this team, I think, at $27+ million. And for the longest, that was a consideration. What happens next year? I mean, do they move on from Al with his partial contract? You know what I mean? It's like a partial guaranteed of 14+. I think that all of those rumors have been thrown right out the window. Al Horford has, without question, earned his contract for next year. I don't give a shit how much it is. I'm not sure if it's like they have to make it to the finals, win the finals, or if it's at a certain date he makes the full. I don't give a shit, whatever. Pay that man. Keep Al Horford in Boston, because I think if he finishes up this year, Anna made a comment that she doesn't think he'll do like coaching when he retires. So I think he's going to probably play several more seasons. Have him play this last year in Boston, sign him to 2 more years. Let him continue to mentor the Grants, the Robs, whoever else you bring in, you know, to kind of fill what his role is as he starts to phase out. But you really think this man is slowing down at 35? Not in the slightest. And 40, my man said it yesterday on the corner that it's because of how much he was rested last year, man. He really was shutting it down early, only playing in 20-something games. He has been the story of this series, and I am so excited, you know, for him moving forward and finishing his career with Boston. It really is. They're going to basically run this thing back next year. They'll bring in, obviously, some of the bottom of the roster will phase out, and they'll bring in some, like I said, the vets. And remember, obviously, the Nets and the Lakers and all those places are destinations. But as you see, the Celtics are going to probably get a little bit more intriguing as a place to go to with how this team looks. So, again, I wouldn't be surprised if you see like the Pat Connaughtons, the Patty Mills or the Kyle Andersons. I mean, I don't know, Otto Porter Jr.'s and guys like that might be really interested in maybe chasing after a ring or, you know, joining this team next year. And then obviously it's the following season. Al's contract comes off the books. I think he'll sign for, you know, it'll be curious to see what he signs for then, but that's when a lot more movement and flexibility will come into play. But the immediate future, I think Brad Stevens is an absolute genius. He hit that. He came in right out the gates before he even hired Ime. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure before Ime was even hired, the first thing he did was trade Kemba, a max player, for Al Horford and Moses Brown, and he sent out a first. He was kind of getting some shit for that. That wasn't like a unanimous like home run at the time. It is now. Al Horford. Shout out to John Corrales, Locked On Celtics. He said it. He feels like this one game basically wins that trade. And I would take it a step further. This one series. Look at him last series. He averaged 13.5 while shooting 65%. He was 9 for 15 from the 3 in the Brooklyn series. He finished the year damn near averaging a double-double. He was like at 12 and 7, 3 assists. Was key in their number one defense in allowing Rob Williams to be the free safety. He has been spectacular all season long. He has been. He has just. I could look. It's already been over 20 minutes, guys. I'm gonna wrap. I apologize. I'm just so excited for this team. Like, that was such a special game and a special moment for Al Horford. His dad was in attendance. His dad's a former Milwaukee Buck. And for Al to just will that team to victory and to take on the number one player in the world head on. And that was a special performance. And this team really, it gives me chills just talking about them. Let's make no mistake about it. They've got to beat the Milwaukee Bucks 2 more times. And that is going to be a tough accomplishment. I wouldn't be surprised if they win game 5, Milwaukee wins game 6, and we're back in the Garden for a winner takes all game 7. However, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, the Celtics win these next 2. But then again, guys, these who knows? This is a dogfight right here with 2, like I keep saying, heavyweight champs throwing just haymakers back and forth at each other. Games, adjustments, these 2 blowouts to start the series, 2 nail biters back to back, 2-2, game 5 Wednesday, TD Garden, Jags to riches. James Peters, thank you all so much for your time. I'm sorry it ran a little bit longer. Go check out my game 3 reaction and breakdown with Bobby and my game 4 immediate reaction with Rashid and 40 Cal on Celtics Corner, link below. Thank you again, guys. Have an excellent conclusion to your day. Take care.